The, the ruling in the Supreme Court yesterday being the 21st of April 2010, regarding the right of convicted child abusers to challenge their lifelong inclusion on the on the sexual offences register is a ruling that we are very, very concerned about. I was interviewed by the BBC yesterday, and I had quite a lot to say about it, but as always you only get a sound bite that is broadcast, so I just thought I'd make a few of the points that I made yesterday about this issue. The aspect that came up, the judgment, the ruling, was around the issue of human rights. And you know, as hopefully decent people here, we believe very much in human rights, and we believe very much that your normal criminal element, if you like, gets a second chance, and criminals do have rights. You know, we have to accept that, and we've all driven through a red light at one time in our life or something, so we've all committed a crime. Let's be cautious about throwing stones. But when you offend against a child, when you abuse a child, then I would question your right to the full protection, if you like, of human rights. I think that if you abuse a child, you are potentially destroying a life, either literally or psychologically. You know what we do here. We hear from the survivors that have been living with the consequences of abuse, sometimes for many decades. So it's a different kind of crime, and I think it calls for a different response. And the idea that somebody who is serving a serious prison sentence, and to be put onto the sex offenders register for life, you have to have been given a sentence in excess of 30 months. And I mean, we know how lenient sentences are generally anyway, but the fact that a 30-month sentence has been imposed would indicate something about the seriousness of the crime. Now, in our experience, and many of the experts tell us, that people who have committed those kind of offences, that have got that kind of sentence, are almost certainly always going to be a danger to children. And therefore it makes no sense to us to remove them from a register which really doesn't entail terribly onerous conditions on them anyway. The conditions basically, once they are released, is that they have to report to the police once a year, they have to report if they move, they have to tell the police if they're going abroad. Now, you know, that might be a nuisance to some of us, but I think that actually is quite a small price to pay in one sense for what they have committed, the crime they've committed. So I see no reason why somebody should be able to challenge that and be able to come off that register during their lifetime. The specific cases yesterday that came up were slightly different. One involved an offence that took place when the offender was a child, an 11-year-old boy. The courts call him F, I think. And the other case was of a 50-year-old man who had assaulted female victims. Now, we would say that, are those cases different? Yes, they are different. Are they serious? They are most definitely serious. But one has got to say that the 11-year-old should probably be treated differently to the 50-year-old, in the sense that if you catch somebody at that age, I mean literally catch them having committed an offence, and people can work with them, psychologists can work with them, then there's every hope, and we would hope, that there will be redemption, and that there will be a good chance that they will not re-offend. I'm not sure what the experts would say about the likelihood of somebody re-offending even when they've committed an offence at such a young age. If they conclude that that person's got some kind of propensity to offend, then again, register for life, I say. But let's accept that an 11-year-old is a child, and we need to recognise that. The 50-year-old man, I could not argue with keeping him on the register for life, because I would imagine he would be considered a danger for the rest of his life, even once incapacitated, as I believe this guy is, and perhaps getting on in life. But you know, it's one of those situations where I do believe life should mean life, and I think, again, this is an unscripted message, hopefully tying up some of the loose ends for anybody who's interested in NAPAC's opinion about this ruling. So, to sum up, I think the ruling is worrying, to say the least. Potentially could open the floodgates to lots of convicted child abusers trying to get out of being on a register which basically monitors their movements, albeit, as I said, very, very superficially. So there we go.